This is part 3 of A Parent's Guide to Estate Planning, and in this video we want to discuss briefly what occurs when both parents are incapacitated or are deceased. If you choose to do nothing, then the physical custody of minor children will be by a court-appointed guardian of the person. And again, the guardian of the person is responsible for food, clothing, and shelter. In terms of the assets, the court will appoint a conservator of the assets who is responsible to the court for making sure that the assets are used for the children's best interests. Then, at your death, we have a different situation in that the assets are then poured over to the children if living and if they are of age. If they are not, then the conservator will hang on to those assets until the child reaches age 21. It is a probate procedure, and as a result, we often want to influence this by making other decisions. And for the most part, I think most parents want to have the physical custody of their minor children based upon your instructions, your preferences. And this may be a temporary delegation of custody, and it may be also a delegation of authority to provide medical services. In terms of the assets, your agent under your statutory power of attorney would be the individual who is responsible for managing those assets. And then at death, it simply pours over into whatever will that you have prepared. This may be a probate procedure or a non-probate procedure, depending upon what your preference is. In the situation where both parents have now died, we look at how things are structured for the survivors. If you choose to do nothing, the court will grant custody of the children to a guardian on a more or less permanent basis. The court will also appoint the conservator to manage those assets and use those assets for their benefit. Again, minor children are not deemed competent to manage property, and as a result, that conservator is responsible to the court to use that for their benefit. But the distribution of that property to them will occur at age 18. If you choose to make the decisions, then you nominate the guardians who will take physical custody of your children. You can also decide who will manage the assets on their behalf. And again, because they are not deemed competent to manage property, you have more options in terms of what you may want for them to do. You can leave property to a person with instructions, or more appropriately, you can create a trust to hold the property for their benefit. And that will be the topic of our next video.